say it is corner now. The cross. Say it is corner now. Leo Dubois.
Welcome back. We had to relive the moment from the CHAN qualification series, the first leg where the Chad Eagles lost to Ghana 2-1. Looking forward to the return leg later today at the MKO Abiola Stadium, and it's quite interesting qualifying the last edition. And Ghana, by the way, haven't qualified in the last 3 editions, so both teams have got a lot on their shoulders in a bid to qualify for the tournament. Well, welcome back, by the way, to Battle of the Fans. It's live and exclusive to Spectrum Television. My name is Isaac. I'm good to have you back. A wonderful weekend, you would say.
Wonderful weekend. Well, I don't know. I'm not very excited about the CHAN Eagles stuff.
Really? I think we should just get a conversation rolling from the CHAN Eagles. The story is that they walk a very tightrope, in the bid to qualify for the CHAN tournament. Remember the story? Lost in the first leg 2-0, despite assembling one of the best group of players from the Nigerian Professional Football League. But the story is that they lost 2-0 in Cape Coast and look forward to a return leg in the MKO Abiola Stadium. Well, first up, we Nigerians have not had fond memories of the MKO Stadium. And this same Ghanaian national team, the senior team that defeated the Super Eagles to qualify for the World Cup. And here's another qualifying game against Ghana. Well, how much of a daunting task?
It will be a daunting task, big, Herculean, but definitely not task impossible. I think the lads must understand the enormity of what's between them now, and it's Ghana. Ghana are rivals by every stretch of the imagination, and a lot needs to come into play. We're talking about pride at stake here. We're talking about bragging rights beyond just the football results, which we desperately need if we're to be a part of the CHAN Championship next year, 2023 in Algeria. Can they do it? I think they've got the quality. It's in their hands. The boys in their court now, despite trailing 2-0. I'm not sure it's the worst results to have from a first leg game heading into the second leg. Well, could it have been better? Absolutely yes, but we can't keep crying over spilled milk. The results was done and dusted last weekend at the Cape Coast Stadium. So now it's about what they can do to reverse that particular one. Well, Ghana scored twice at home, so why can't we score 3 times at home here? I think the determinant factor, Mari, very quickly would be how quickly they go off the blocks. They need to get out firing, get that first goal in the first 15 minutes of that particular encounter. And I think, that would now translate the pressure, because as it stands right about now, it's Nigeria and the Super Eagles under intense pressure. The Ghanaians will be very happy to sit back and soak in the pressure and potentially look to catch them on the break. And I think substitution would also be key and critical, because we're expecting a high intensity game from the blast of the whistle. And you can't quite see what's the physical level of all of these players that will be starting. So I think Salisi must fashion, the super sub tactics, must keep them ready on standby. So when maybe strength begins to fail, those starting, could draft in those replacements quite early to continue. So I want us to stretch the Ghanaians as much as possible. We need to hold on to possession. We need to press them. We need to make them uncomfortable. We need to make them feel the heat, later this particular evening. And well, good news is that we hear the gates will not entirely be thrown open, but the fans will have to get their ticket at the gate, which is absolutely free. I like to see us pack that particular facility and make the atmosphere very intimidating. Well, it's not. No.
Let's get to the 13th man story. The fan.
I think it will be very crucial.
Yeah. Well, if you look at precedents, right? The Super Eagles of Nigeria had massive home support, and then the gate was thrown open as well at that qualifying game. But in front of your home fans, they just could not do anything tangible. Lost the game to Ghana, and then played in a fashion that we did not just we're not happy about. So let's talk about the fan, and then 2 questions basically. The CHAN Eagles have failed to qualify for this competition in the last tournament, and Ghana, by the way, have failed to qualify.
Yeah, Ghana haven't qualified 2014. That was the
The
last
last
time we
3
qualified.
times. So how much of a disaster would it be if the China Eagles did not end up qualifying for this competition?
It won't be a disaster. The Super Eagles will miss the World Cup, the biggest football event in the world, and that's more of a disaster. But I think it would be an opportunity missed for these lads, these players. We've seen at the women's level, 4 players drafted in from the
Falconet side.
Falconets to join the Super Falcons camp as they take on the USA in that double header in the USA in international friendlies. And if they didn't do well at the Under 20 World Cup, I'm not sure they would have that chance. So now we've been talking about inclusion of some locally based players, some of the brightest prospects. This is the chance they have to show Jose Pizarro that they've got the quality to make up the national team A squad.
Yeah,
That's Team B.
yeah.
So it all begins here because I'm sure Coach Salisu Yusuf would have a big part of play as to who is drafted into the Super Eagles main A team, because
Absolutely.
he's the coach of the B team.
It's
and
part of the
understand-
setup,
Yeah,
the A team setup.
Absolutely. So he's part of the A team setup, and beyond that, he understands the quality of those players almost in and out. So would be in a better position to to advise Jose Pizarro on who he thinks would be better fitting where with regards to the scheme of things with the senior Super Eagles. We're talking the senior national team, Super Eagles now. So I think it's an opportunity this last kind of afford to take for granted. It's not about Salisu Yusuf now. It's not about the Super Eagles, or it's not about Nigeria. It's about themselves. And it's about their career and how far they want to take it. So if they want to play maybe in future World Cups or future African Cup of Nations, it all begins here in this particular tournament. So they can't afford to play with this. Qualify for Chan. Jose Pizarro will be looking at Chan as well. So some bright prospects there. Draft them into the national team, and if they continue to play well, you never know. Even from the home base Eagles or from the home base scene, they could have invitations time and time again, to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So it's a game we can't afford to joke with. I hope the lads understand what it means, not just for the country, but what this game means for them and their careers going forward. I can only wish them the very best. And you talked about the 12-man, the fans.
Yeah.
I think it will be very crucial. I would like every touch from the Ghanaians to be met by boos and jeers. I like that.
Well, how much of a psychological problem would that be for the Ghanaians?
I think
judging from the fact that they're going there with a cushion, a 2-goal cushion, and then the objective is just to go there, hold your own down if possible.
An early goal unsettles them. An early goal from Super Eagles unsettles them, and then that comes in as well. And let's say the Super Eagles play well, that would be a lot of pressure. So you don't know what you're battling or who you're battling against. It's not just a battle on the pitch of play. It's about a battle, from the fans, the external factor as well. So you're feeling the intensity of the heat on the pitch and what you're hearing. It gets into your head, as human beings, psychologically. You can't say it affects the entire team, but there will be weak links in that team, and maybe a position they're not doing so well, or certain players, having a bad day in office, will put pressure there. So every single touch met with jeers and boos. That's how it cracks in.
Yeah.
So you get that weak link, and then that could just be our way in.
Well, basically, I hope this works out. Just as bright as capturing, this is a chance for the home-based boys to, give a good account of themselves heading into, a chance to feature for the Super Eagles 80. Looking forward to, how much of a quality they would showcase, not just Nigeria but Africa in a bid to qualify. Like I said, they work in a very tightrope, but it's not entirely very impossible for these boys. Wana joins the conversation virtually this morning. Let's see if we can connect to Wana quickly. Well, good morning, Wana. How you doing, by the way?
It's a great morning. I'm doing great, man. Thank you, Marijan. How are you doing?
All right, so let's get into the conversation. The Ghanaians, we've talked about the Super Eagles B team and the quality they have, and then the fact that they need a lot. They need to do a lot to qualify for, the Chan Eagles, the Chan tournament coming up later next year. They've got everything in their disposal, fan support, home support, and all of that. But let's talk about the Ghanaians, because we cannot entirely discredit their efforts. We cannot entirely, rule them out in this particular competition. Judging from the performance from the first game in Cape Coast, what do you think the Ghanaians will bring into Nigeria that would unsettle the Chan Eagles?
If you won the first game, it's only fair if you do the same thing over and over again. The first half was fairly equal. Even Nigeria attacked, Ghana attacked. Nigeria defended well, Ghana defended well. But if you see the second half, as it started, when the Ghanaians attacked, there was so much promise in the attack over and over again, and Nigeria was struggling. The keeper was out of his game that day. He was totally out of it. I don't know what the defense line was doing, but that should not repeat itself. in this game, in this fixture, if they are hoping to overcome the 2-1 deficit they suffered a week ago. Because seeing as they played, the midfield of this Nigerian team needs some work in it. They need to change something. The attack was so flat that the Ghanaians could predict everything they did over and over and over again. So now it's easy for people to come out and say, okay, we're going to win 3-0, we're going to win 4-0, this is our home base, we have the home advantage, our fans will come out cheering. But that does not work. Once the team wants to win, the Ghanaians can just decide to come out, okay, we're not going to attack, we're going to defend. It's all down to Nigeria to show that they can play this football, that they can break down the side as good as this Ghanaian squad, because they've already defeated us already. We can't lose, we can't go out of two major tournaments to one side. It's not going to be a great look on this Nigerian team, because these are supposed to be the future of this Nigerian squad. And if they cannot pull up a victory, I don't know when, I don't know how they'll be able to do it in another time.
All right. So when I'm still talking about the game that comes up later today, you saw the game yourself in the first leg last weekend, and we had this conversation a couple of days ago on social media. Now, with the loss, what should be done differently as the boys take on Ghana later today? What should be done differently from a tactical perspective and from a personal perspective?
I mean, changing the players won't solve anything, because those players are truly great players. They've played great football over and over again. It's all down to the formation. You change the formation, you change the way they attack, because the attack was so passive. If you're playing a 4-4-2, you should know that, okay, your two wide midfielders should be ready to go forward and attack and be ready to come back in defense. If you saw the second goal very, very clearly, the number 3 was left isolated when the cross came in. And that's how the goal started. And the defenders were completely out of it, lack of communication. So now the coach has to decide to change the formation, or to tell the player that you're playing this game not just for yourself, but for your country, for the nation, and you should put in your best performance. You change, okay, maybe try a 4-4-3, play a pivot number 10. The number 10 that okay, in this squad, this guy is creative, he can do everything. Off the ball comes from him. Every attack starts with him. You play that number 10, you play him that number 10 with 4-3-3 attack, and the Ghanaians will know what hit them. That's simply basic. You change the formation, change the tactic, because if the old tactic never worked against this Ghanaian side, okay, Nigeria managed to score 1 goal. Yeah, they did. They scored a goal. Now they need 3+ goals in this game. If the plan is they should get there and they should score the first goal, because if you let the Ghanaians get the first goal, it's over. It's all over, because I do not see this Nigerian side having that grit and determination to say, okay, we're going to come back, we're going to score 4 goals, 5 goals, because they cannot score. They can't. You just can't do that against this Ghanaian side. They are well built. They have a proper tactic, and they are going out against it in this game. So Nigeria needs to change something. I mean, the formation change should be the first thing on the manager's mind coming into this one.
All right. So, Bright, in games like this, motivation and incentive plays a major role in tricky games like this.
Let's not do that.
Well, we've seen, especially in Africa here, where people call, players and all of that, and then try to motivate them and all of that, and give them money incentive.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Yeah. Now, let me tell you.
Yeah.
If the lads don't feel the game later this evening is big enough for them, then they should go home.
Well, I like the firmness. The firmness.
Now, if they don't understand the animosity, what this game means for them and their careers going forward, they should go home.
Well, now, I like the animosity, Bright.
Yeah.
Now talking about this, these stories. Shehu Diko, the first vice president of the NFF, was with them yesterday in training, and I was talking to them and all of that, and then giving them the charge. Get to hear what Shehu Diko told the players. But before then, Bright, we're talking about the fact that you were saying, that we should throw, the theory of motivation out of the window.
I'm not saying motivation. Now, when we talk about motivation here, more often than always in Africa, it means
it's
a
money.
different thing.
Yeah, it's money.
So it's about naira and kobo.
Yeah, money.
It's the same thing when we talk about lobbying. In Senate climbs, lobbying is about ideas. It's about superior idea, superior argument that takes the day that wins. But when we talk about lobbying here, more often than always in the Nigerian context, it's about how much Ghana must go, so you're dragging in. So motivation here, Shehu Diko is talk to the lads. Go out there, psych them up psychologically. I think the best they can do for them is to tell them, well, be rest assured, your allowances and bonuses will be paid promptly, or maybe paid before the game.
Yeah, that's a motivation.
Bonuses and allowances. Now, that's money normally due them. Money that here in Nigeria would take maybe decades to get. That would be enough motivation, and then psych them up, psychologically. Get them to see what this means for them, what this game means for their future, what it means for their family, what it means for their career as footballers. I think that's enough motivation. Let's not go dragging backs here. because it will be distractions. We've talked about that all the time.
Yeah.
We saw the Super Eagles. You know, they were promised heaven on earth
Yeah, to qualify for
against
the
Ghana.
competition. Yeah.
Did they qualify? Absolutely not. We've seen, we know how that plays out, what part it plays. When we talk about motivation, especially for, an impoverished country like Nigeria, where you look at, how people are struggling to make ends meet every day. And you look at
and then the
these
fact
lads.
that these boys
These
are
lads are
playing in
locally
Nigeria.
based.
Yeah.
How much money do they have? The season is over. Season ended for them. How many of them are on salary? Are they getting paid regularly? How many of them are sure of, leaving the trenches? Now, so now that's got to be motivation.
Yeah.
That was just an aside. I think that's enough motivation. Let's not go dragging in backs. The lads must normally understand how big this game is and what this game means for them. I think if we get Jose Pizarro to talk to the lads, virtually, if it's
he
not
was
around,
there in training 2 days ago.
so that would be massive. Jose Pizarro there in the stands. That would be motivation. So the lads understand, well, I've got a Super Eagles manager watching. I could have a future in the national team. Now that's motivation. Let's not go dragging, Ghana must go, Naira and Kobo. I think it's just somewhere people get to make more money because you're not even sure all of the monies given for the sake of those lads get to the lads entirely.
Yeah.
So
That's a conversation.
Let's not go there.
Well, it gets interesting. I just hope that the boys understand the animosity of this particular game and the fact that it's an all-win. It's basically not just for Nigeria but for themselves, because it will have a huge role in how the career is going to turn around post-CHAN and post-CHAN qualification. But let's just get to hear what the first Vice President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Malam Shehu Diko, said to the players in the final training session yesterday. And he said a lot about the motivation and the fact that these players need to do a lot. But let's just hear from the horse's mouth. Malam Shehu Diko talking to the players yesterday.
Costa Rica for the final of the FIFA World Cup and it's going to be back starting. But I'm here on behalf of the Federation to wish you well. I apologize for any difficulties that have happened in this camp. Let's tell you that we are firmly behind you. We are praying for you. We are supporting you for life. To remind you that I'm the chairman of the NPFL. You guys are representing over have to pray and die. Do whatever you can do to make sure we recover this match and do what we have to do. Because you're not playing for yourself. You are playing for the integrity of your fellow colleagues in this league who are playing this league so that people will respect what we are doing and people will know that we have the quality. Even though we have the quality. So see, Pizarro is here to invest in the quality. Mistakes in Ghana is football. So tomorrow is our game here. Just remember, don't worry about it. Whatever is the issue, just put it beside it. Let's recover the result, then we can come back and see what we can sort, what we can do.
All right, to the first Vice President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Malam Shehu Diko, reechoing what we've been talking about lately, that these boys have to not just play for the country, but for themselves and for their footballing career. And Brighter could cite a Akwa United goalkeeper who's doing Kwara United, Adewala Adeyinka, could also cite Maurice Chukwu, also in the stands there. But let's talk about personnel and quality heading into that particular game, as we said to switch conversations. Do you have any names of players that you would want to see start in today's game later?
Well, I'm not sure that's my job. I'd allow Salisu to worry about that.
He knows them better.
Yeah, he does. He's seen them in training, and some of those lads has seen them play over time here in Nigeria. But having assessed the level of the lads in terms of physical shape, match fitness, in terms of how they played in training, to build up to this particular, I think it's the best man. It's in the best position,
basically,
to make adjustments.
All right.
From the first game as well. Am I expecting changes? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes, especially midfield. I won't call names, for I would expect some fresh legs to get in there. I thought, we did better in the last 20 minutes of that particular encounter. Had a good first half. The second half started quite rocky for us. Considered a penalty. Deola Dinka was under so much pressure. We've got to put ourselves out there. We've got to be the first to every second ball. And every loose ball should be at the end of it. We should be chasing, snapping heels. We can't afford to be strolling. It's not a game I expected Super Eagles to just walk in there, control the tempo of the game, do what Jorginho does with Thiago Silva and Koulibaly, stroking the ball side to side. I like to see forward passes. Let's put the Ghanaians under real pressure. I like to see real intensity. As I said earlier, I don't want the lads who are walking about. It would make no sense if you have 70% of possession and you can't get a goal within the first 15 minutes of that one. Because I think, as I said earlier, how early we get off the blocks will determine whether or not we could get, that goal. Let's get the first goal early. Put the pressure on them. If we can get 2 in the first half, then, the second half, the Ghanaians, I'm sure, will want to come out a little bit, and play. When they come out, they leave spaces. But again, I think there's got to be some tactical balance to a game. While we're emphasizing on getting early goals, we can't afford to forget the fact that a goal for the Ghanaians means we need to score 3 to stay in the game. In fact, we need to score 4 because now they have an away goal, and that counts for them. So while we're also putting pressure, we're saying the lads is important for you to get the goals going forward. They must understand that they must defend to stay in the tie, because that's what the Ghanaians are doing. They would come in there and defend very resolutely. So while you're attacking, you've got to defend as well. Don't forget that, if you move out too much, you're leaving acres of spaces at the back for the Ghanaians to exploit. And those Ghanaians are fast. They're fast and they're very fluid. I watched them play in the first leg, and it's something. I think it's a national plan, because that's exactly the way the Ghanaian A-team plays. Now, they don't particularly play with a recognized striker. They're all forward men, and they switch very easily. They start attack from the flanks. Without possession, all of them are on the flanks, and make life difficult for you. So they're getting behind the ball. So every single time they defend in waves. So you beat the attack, more like the pressing system. So you beat the first man, they get back and form the second wave. So you beat the midfield, you still meet them again. So it looks like you're playing against 24 players, because every single time you got on the ball,
seeing the same faces.
You'd see faces, regular faces, and they make life difficult for you. Without the ball, those guys drafting into the middle, they form those extra bodies and extra numbers. And that leaves you with what? 2 central defenders. The defenders, the right back and left back, one will join the attack, and that leaves you with 1 holding midfielder. You lose possession there, you'd be so shocked how quickly they swarm, to you like bees. That's how they play. So Salisu Yusuf must fashion out the way, to counter all of that. There's got to be that balance, offensive and defensive balance. The moment we lose the ball, there can't be any man strolling from attack to defense. Everyone gets back just to get back that ball, recover that ball as fast as possible. Now, if it were possible, I would say adopt the Guardiola system. So you're counting 10, 15 seconds, get back that ball, put them back under pressure. You get back that ball, you peck them back. Now that's how to play. But if you dilly-dally, and then maybe you're marking spaces,
I get crazy. Well, actually, it sounds like the task ahead is quite very, very big and enormous for the.
Well, it's always going to be an enormous task,
Yeah.
We lost 2 goals to nothing.
Yeah,
away from home.
First of all, that is quite a crazy thing, because they should be looking at trying to overturn that particular deficit and then move forward and all of that.
But it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's not a guarantee. See, the Super Eagles played a 0-0 draw in Ghana. Meaning it was an open game. Just get back home, we beat them, qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah,
they came here, they scored first.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about the away goal rule.
Yeah, they came here, they scored first. So it's a fairly open game for me. I think it's a fresh slate. It's a clean slate. The lads must forget the fact that they conceded twice against Ghana in Ghana. It's a fresh game. They must understand that they will get the goals. They need to get the goals as quick as possible forget about what happened in the past. Forget about what happened with the senior national team. It didn't concern you. Well, apart from the fact that you're Nigerians. You know, so the fans are the ones putting that extra pressure on you. But for you, this is a task in front of you. Get the goals in early. Let's get the job
Task
done.
in front, get the goals early, and hopefully they get this particular win. But we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Premier League. Match week 6 returns later this weekend. Arsenal against Chelsea to stand test for both sides as to how much quality they have and how
Arsenal,
good
Manchester
they'll be.
United.
Manchester United rather, not Manchester City, I beg for pardon. And of course, we'll talk about the other interesting games to be expected this particular weekend. We'll do a recap of the transfer at the summer. It was interesting as Premier League clubs exceeded the transfer cap, basically, you know, 4 Premier League clubs in the history of football. We'll talk about this and so much more when we come back from this short break. By the way, let's just relive the memories, you know, that 6-0 drop in Manchester City did to Nottingham Forest just the last match they enjoy. When we come back, we'll talk about football and the Premier League and basically get your thoughts, wrap up. Stick around, be right back.
It is corner now. The cross. Back post. Dubois is there. Straight back in. Oh!